Hello, welcome to the Magic We Have at Home podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bjorn, and with me today right now is one of my co-hosts, Ren.
Oh, hello.
Bear is not here. He will be joining us in a little bit, so he'll be kind of sliding in some point in this. He has been extremely busy being out of country, but we'll let him tell you about that when he joins us. Today we're going to do a little bit different kind of an episode. We will be getting back to our theory crafting in no time, but we just felt like we wanted to do a little bit of time to kind of get to talk about not necessarily like who we are as people, but who we are as Magic players, what sort of things we do like about and don't like about the game, how long we've been playing, that sort of thing. So this is going to be a little bit more of a get to know us episode. So we hope you enjoy. Ren, my opening question that I wanted to talk about first is, what is it you like about Magic as opposed to other games?
Nothing. That'll be the episode. See you guys next
All right,
week.
goodbye.
What I like about Magic is there's so much weird stuff you can do. I think that there's a lot of games where you're kind of hyper-focused into one state of play. If you're playing Monopoly, there's a generally just best way to win the game. You can strategize to make sure that you have what you need when you need it, and then you can slowly build your Monopoly. If you're playing Uno, you could just hope that you get enough draw fours to bully somebody into losing the game so you win like that. But in Magic, when you're playing against people you do know and you don't know, there's always a surprise. And each person's Magic deck tends to reflect how they play and how they see the game. And I've always really enjoyed the more creative aspect of it.
I'm really actually glad that you brought up, especially the part where like you get to, like you kind of get to play your own game. Because this is, I wrote this question because I've been thinking about it for myself, obviously. And it's funny that you talked about Uno because I think Uno is like the worst game. I hate that game. And to be honest, I don't actually play a lot of other games besides Magic. I'm kind of like a one-game person, which I think is, I don't know, weird. But I've been trying to figure out what it is I like about Magic. And I think what you said, like while you were talking about it, really definitely struck a chord with me as well. Of just, you really get to customize your own gameplay. I really like how much you can bring creativity. The objective technically is to win, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of times you can play a game and do something completely ridiculous and your deck does exactly what you want it to do and then you lose, and it's still a ton of fun. And I think that customizable aspect is, it's really great. I think the amount of agency that Magic the Gathering gives its players is fantastic. I'm curious, so what other games do you play, Ren?
I have a strange amount of friend groups where there's very little to no interaction between them. So I play Warhammer, the tabletop game. I play a lot of video games, both competitive and just kind of for fun. So RTSs, FPSs, some battle royales. I think we're coming off, this is the day after Halloween, correct?
Yeah.
So this is the 1st of November. Arc Raiders just released, and that's been kind of popping off. So I play just like any game under the sun when it comes to video games. I play Catan with a friend group, play Wordle every day by myself. Just pretty much.
You don't have a Wordle friend group?
No Wordle friend group. I've been trying to see if it'll kick off, but the office people at my salary job didn't really take to it.
I found out I have both my wife's family and my own family both have Wordle group chats, and I got invited to neither of them. Now, I don't play Wordle very much, but I would have had I been invited. But that was kind of like, I don't know, it's funny. One of them that's like really competitive, they call it Wordle Golf. So I think getting the word in 3 is a par. Mm-hmm. And so you play, every day they play, and then you send in your score to the group chat like it's golf. Like I was 1 over, I shot for par, I was 1 under, you know. And they compete, and then there's like a weekly winner. So it's like they play 7 rounds of Wordle a week. And the funniest thing is that my mom is incredibly competitive with it, and I guess she's really good, which you don't know my mom, but typically she's very mellow. And I wouldn't say she's not competitive, but just, yeah, trash talking my uncles is something that I usually would not ever see my mom do, but apparently she's doing that in her Wordle group chat. and it's pretty fun to watch.
I can't wait to get invited to your family's Wordle group chats in your place.
You'll get an invite before I do.
Probably. I need to play my game today, actually. If you ever play Wordle, what's your go-to starting word?
This is just maybe because I don't want to take it seriously. I don't have a go-to starting word. My general rule is that I have to guess the first word that comes to my head. And I think that's a lot more fun. One, because it's Wordle and I just don't take it very seriously, so I don't need a big strategy. But also, when you do get a hole in one, when you get it on the first guess and it's not your normal word, because obviously if you guess the same, there's only so many 5-letter words. If you're guessing the same 5-letter word every single day, eventually you'll hit it. That's the blind nut finds the blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. So I think it's way more fun when you are just guessing, what's the first word that comes to my head? Okay, gotta guess that. It was track. The word was track, and I'm a teacher, so I was teaching class, or I wasn't teaching class. My kids were working on an assignment, and a couple of them were done, so they were playing Wordle, and they were like, "Oh, you gotta try today's Wordle," and they came back. It was amazing. They came back to my computer to watch me play it, and I just typed in the first word that came to my head, which was track, and I got it, and I was so excited. And none of them believed that I didn't know the word. They were just like, no, there's no way. There's no way you guessed it on the first try. You did it earlier today. You saw somebody else do it.
I don't believe you either.
I know, right?
Sorry.
I needed a Wordle group chat to send it to. There's no sanctified game where everyone's sworn to honesty, so of course no one would believe me.
That's true. We don't believe you.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I'm curious, what kind of games don't you like?
I don't like games that sort of lend to an unhealthy play pattern. I used to play a lot of Destiny, and I played a lot of PvP just because I didn't have friends to do the raids with, and I ended up in the top 1% of all free-for-all matchmaking. So I would occasionally take one of my friends into free-for-all with me, and they'd be like, "Oh, everybody here is a god." Mm-hmm. Everybody knows the spawns, everybody knows every spawn where you can spawn, everybody knows the sightlines to reach them. And I think that's a very unhealthy play pattern, just because once you memorize how that works, you can spawn trap really easily, and that can kill the fun of other players.
It's too easy to gamify, essentially. It's too easy to just take advantage of flaws in the system.
When the most effective tactics possible prohibit another player's fun, I don't think it's fun.
I guess it depends. For me, it depends on what kind of game. One of the only other games that I've really played a lot of was League of Legends, and I was not good at League of Legends. I think I topped out at silver. Not good at League of Legends, but I had so much fun playing it. And I think it's just because the amount of agency. And I think, to me, if you're winning a lane or losing a lane, and you're just 10-0 up on somebody or down 0-10, I don't mind that. I'd get frustrated, but I wouldn't be this game sucks, this game has bad mechanics, because to me it was more well, I'm winning because I'm better than this person at the game, and I've been practicing, and I did something right. And if I'm losing, it's because I did something wrong. Even if the lane matchup was bad, or they had a champion that was buffed and I was playing a champion that wasn't good, or I got put in a role, it was well, I'm losing because I'm making mistakes. Mm-hmm. And so then it doesn't bother me as much. And I don't know, I've never played Destiny, so it could be that's just way too easy to exploit. But to me, in a competitive game, I don't mind that. I don't mind that unhealthy play pattern, just because it's competitive, you know? If you do something right, you should get rewarded, and if you do something wrong, you should get punished, and that doesn't bug me, I guess. One of my favorite YouTubers to watch was this guy named Azap. I think he was Turkish. I'm not sure. But his whole thing, because in League of Legends you can forfeit if you get down. His whole thing was you never forfeit, and he launched this whole campaign. And it was kind of fun because it made this whole he was just posting YouTube shorts about it and videos about it, and you could kind of see the culture in the game change. and more people were getting on the like never surrender train. And I really liked that because it was like people, even though they were losing horribly, were like accepting responsibility and accepting the agency. And I think like it's the agency that I really like. I don't know, that unhealthy play pattern doesn't bother me too much, as long as you actually have control over what it is you're doing.
So the way I think about it, like I'm not talking about like the whole game, but I'm talking at like the top percentage. It's like Nexus camping. Let's say that there's a Jinx, 31 and 2. She's got every item at 20 minutes.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You're just like, she's just camping you
but
behind
won't
the
end the
Nexus
game.
towers. Yeah, just
Got
you're
it.
sitting there and you're just like, what is this person doing?
That makes sense.
That's what free for all of the top 1% felt like. Whereas like if I'm playing against anybody worse than me, it's not close.
Now you've played CEDH a bit.
Yeah.
Do you find, because like I see CEDH, and there's a meta. There's like 8 decks you can play really.
No.
Okay, like not all the time, like ever, but like it looks like there's about 8 decks that make it, like that people are playing. There's a meta.
There are the top like 6 decks.
Okay, yeah. And so what that looks like to me, and maybe this is why I don't like it, because I talk about this on the episode that we're putting out tomorrow. I'm really bad at like the decision making aspect of Magic. I'm not good at like threat analysis. I'm not good at knowing who to swing at or when to block or whatever. That's just not a strength I have. And that seems like all CEDH is. Like, it doesn't seem like, unless you're one of those people who's like super top creative type and really, really good at figuring out the new metas and being ahead of the curve, most of the time it just seems like kind of copying a deck list and then just playing it and hoping that you don't get countered and that you spend your count at the right time. Did it feel that way to you? Like, did it feel like, because to me that sounds boring.
No, it felt more creative, if anything.
Okay.
Because I had to, ostensibly, everybody had the same silver bullet, right? If you're like, for instance, right now the most effective way to win a game is Thassa's Oracle. It's not the most like used thing to win games. There are just better decks that just don't use it because it's counterable. Everybody knows it's going to happen. So every deck has to figure out how to lock out every other deck. So everybody has the same like 7 silver bullets, where it's counterspell, Psychrift, whatever. But everybody has to make sure that they're not using their bullet until other people have already spent theirs.
So it's less of like building the gun and more about just when do you shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's figuring out who are you waiting to counterplay against something, and how much damage, like how much of a hit are you willing to take before you have to interact with something. And because competitive or CEDH is like that, there's so many ways to lock out players from playing. So you have to make sure that you're saving your bullet for when it's most valuable, but you're also not wasting your opportunity to shoot. And so I think it's let's see, what is it? It's like rock, paper, scissors. Somebody has a rock, you can play paper, but if you're playing with 6 other people all at the same time, you want to hold your play until the very end, because if you have all the information, you know what will win the most.
On that note, I was actually, we aren't game designers for the record, but I just want to see what your thoughts are, because I haven't talked to you about this yet. There's been talk recently about putting in some sort of buff for whoever has to go 4th in turn order. There's starting to be enough compelling data showing that like the person who goes last in turn order, like in CEDH and in casual, I guess, has a way lower win percentage than the other 3 players. I think there was it was Gavin Fairhace was doing a live stream talking about a bunch of different stuff, and I think he just mentioned it right at the end. But then I was watching this video by these guys called the Distraction Makers. They're like game design, and they had this guy on who runs this big online CEDH community, and so they have like some of the most data on CEDH, and he was saying the same thing, that whoever goes last is just kind of screwed. And so they're trying to figure out some way, I think they're still trying to decide if they want to address that, but it was sounding more and more like they are going to try to address it. I'm curious what you think about that. They haven't said how they would address it. But.
Yeah, I think the problem is how you would address it. It's like saying we need to nerf the player in second turn in the rotation, just because they're more likely to win.
Mhm.
Like they're a small percentage more likely, and I'm assuming that the fourth player is a small percentage less likely to win.
Mhm.
And it just feels bad when you get ratioed like that, when you get percentile, like the math is gonna track out that you probably won't win.
Mhm.
Like that feels bad, but there's also a chance of your agency, like you still have 99 cards in a commander to decide what you want to play with.
Yeah, I do think that probably the further down you go in the brackets, probably the less that matters. If games are ending on turn 9 instead of turn 6, you know, the average bracket 2 deck can win on turn 9. You can still win a game by turn 8. So you could be the fourth person in and you could have a good game. I would imagine that the lower power level has less of a problem with that, but I don't know. I haven't tracked any of our data on that. I did hear an idea recently online from it was Commander Bommy, and he was saying that he's been playing at his game store. They do, I think he called it like a special energy token. Basically, it's just 1 free mana. You can use it at any point. It only goes to the fourth person, and but it's like it's not an artifact. It can't be sacrificed. Like it's not. It has no synergy with anything else. It's just 1 free mana.
Generic mana or colored mana?
I think it's colored mana. I don't remember though.
Then you run into the same problem of the fourth player is going to just have an excessive bonus. Right now, Magic or CEDH got really fast, and then we lost all of our expensive mana rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We lost Jeweled Lotus, we lost Crypt, we lost Dockside, which isn't new news. And the meta has shifted healthily, I would say, to something else. So I'm not too cut up about those. Although now I can't cast Selvala for 0 mana on turn 1, which is a shame. But I think they're trying to fix a problem by using a band-aid solution. And I don't think that's healthy for Magic as a creative thing, because then people are going to be like, well, I don't want to go first. Like, going first will be a downside, and going fourth will be an immense buff, because then you're 1 mana away from being able to Demonic Consultation and pass as Oracle.
Well,
Turn 1.
That was actually kind of what I was thinking, is like, if you do buff the fourth player, well, then just going third is the worst option. Like,
Yeah.
and like maybe there's something, because I don't play CEDH, so I don't know. Like, there could be something I'm not considering, but like, yeah, it just seems like if you buff fourth place, that third place then just becomes the new fourth place, and then like you just kind of like, are you going to buff third place if their win rate drops considerably? Like, I don't know.
It's you can't fix it. Fourth place has the most information, but it has the least resources. That's the trade-off you have to have in fourth place, and then fourth place players just have to be more patient, which sucks because that's how the game works. Where
If maybe you allowed, this might be super busted, but you allowed the fourth player to change their deck once they found out they were going fourth, like make sideboard swaps. You get to do sideboard CEDH, right?
no,
No?
no, it's commander. It's just the most effective tactics possible.
Oh, I thought they got like a sideboard for, you can't change stuff out in between rounds or
no.
anything?
No.
But like, if you could, like, that would be kind of interesting if like you could build your deck slightly different, knowing you're gonna have to be more patient. I don't know what that would look like, but
Have you ever had somebody build a deck just to counter your deck?
no.
Have you ever? So I play Warhammer 40,000, and for some reason they try to balance the game perfectly, and so that means they want to have everybody at a perfect 50% win rate, and that's super bad for the game, just because it's not going to happen. People are different skill levels. People that like flock to more finicky factions will either be gods or be terrible. That's just the nature of how humans play games. So if we're like trying to balance a game by saying, yeah, you get 1 takesies backsies, and you get to change your deck to counter my deck.
Well, it's like counter your deck, but more just like, I don't know, and this is the problem. Like, now I'm really getting out of my territory, but like, yeah, there's just maybe cards or mana rocks. I don't know, something in your sideboard that you could add in that would be more useful, knowing that you were going last.
You would just run probably artifact stacks pieces. If you're playing against an Atali deck, which is disgustingly quick, you would probably just be like, all right, you can't cast spells from exile. You would run as many of those artifacts as possible. If you're in white, you would run more stacks. If you're in whatever color, you would try and find the best way to disrupt somebody's form of play, and that takes your deck from being a deck that's trying to win to a deck that's trying to sabotage, and that doesn't work in CEDH.
Thanks. Yeah.
There's a Flubs the Fool deck right now.
In CEDH?
CEDH.
Oh my gosh.
And the deck's whole thing is like it doesn't stop. There's no counter spells in that deck. It's in Teamer. There's
That's
no counter spells.
yeah.
It just-
What are they calling that? I've watched a video about this. It's called like Semi Blue or something.
Something.
I didn't know that it was Flubs the Fool, or I didn't hear that it was Flubs the Fool. But like, yeah, you're just running Teamer, and it's just about winning as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Don't care about anybody else's stuff.
Nothing matters. If you get countered, you just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's a healthier deck than any deck that tries to stop another player from winning the game as a reactionary thing.
I do think it's kind of funny, which I've heard. So I know that the video I watched about it basically said like it was really big in Japan, and that's where that meta was happening, and that it's not quite catching on here in the U.S. Like people are playing it, but like there was like a recent tournament. Who did I hear about? Someone was saying they were playing at a recent tournament, and like there was one of those decks in the top 8, and it didn't win.
Yeah.
Because the meta is just different, I guess, in Japan than it is here. But I do think it's funny because when I heard about that, I was like, that's literally just how, like, that seems like how a lot of people just play Magic in general. Is like, I don't care about interaction. I don't care about, like, slowing anybody else down. Like, why would I play interaction and make somebody feel bad? Why would I remove their stuff when I can just ramp faster and put out a bigger creature? And to be honest, I kind of had the opposite reaction when I heard that was happening in CEDH, because I was like, oh no, like that's just going to encourage people to do this more, because I don't like that game style. I really like my interaction. I really like when people, like I like the games that are longer and grindier, where you have to try to figure out how to get more value from things, where you have to like really think about like, and maybe even negotiate like, oh, is this going to get removed? Is that going to get removed? Do I need to remove this? Even though I'm not good at it, I do enjoy that. So it's kind of bummed to see that was coming up in CDH, because I don't like when people do that. I don't find that fun at all, and I don't really find it fun to play against. And not always, but like when I play against those kind of people, or when I play in games where people are just mostly interested in oh, our lights just went up. When people are just mostly interested in like ramp fast, play a big creature, they really don't like being interacted with. And then I'm not a huge fan of that, because then it just feels like, well, why are we playing this game together? You know, like if we aren't going to interact with one another.
You don't want to play solitaire when you're at a Magic table.
Yeah. So I like one thing. My family's very big on sports, so we play a lot of sports, and one of the things that we just always talk about is like what actually defines a sport. Mostly because.
Because track's not a sport.
Well, it's actually, my sister started doing track, and that was the thing. My brother was like, track's not a real sport. And so that kind of always sparked the debate. And so we always talked about like, what is a sport? And then I like to have that and just argue with people and talk to them and hear their ideas. And the two best things that I've heard for that, and only one of them applies to Magic. The first one is it can't come down to a judgment call. If it comes down to a judgment call, it's not a sport. There has to be a clear winner and a clear loser. And that doesn't apply as much to Magic. There always has to be a clear winner and loser. But the second one, and I really like this one as well, is you have to be able to directly interfere with your opponent's ability to win the game. If you can't interfere with your opponent at any way, then it's not a sport, it's a skills competition. We're seeing who is better at the skill, not who can strategize better, not who can counteract, not who can adjust. And so that was kind of what we always, like, that was kind of what we came back to. I mean, it doesn't really matter what is a sport and what isn't, but...
You're saying bowling isn't a sport?
No, I would say bowling, it's a skills competition. You're seeing who's better at bowling, right? And so, to me, like, I kind of bring that into Magic as well. It's like, I don't want Magic to be a skills competition, because if it's a skills competition, then it's just like, well, who paid more money and brought a more powerful deck? And that's not very exciting to me. Like, I want to see the decks interact. I want to see, like, how did you come prepared to deal with me, or how did I come prepared to deal with you? I really don't like just being like, well, we're all just going to kind of sit in a circle and show off our deck one at a time. That's just not very fun for me.
So you're confusing EDH with CEDH, and that's, I think, a problem, because like as much as they're the same cards, they're not the same game.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm talking about casual. Like, yeah. I'm saying in casual.
We're talking about Flubs the Fool in CEDH.
Oh, no. What I was saying with that was like, it worried me to see the play style where it's just like ignore all your opponents, just play your deck, make it into CEDH, because then like I feel like it encourages, because then you get people who look and go like, well, what are the best decks doing? Oh, the best decks just ignore everyone else and play stuff, right? Because before it was like, oh, what are the best decks doing? They're building value engines. They're running lots of removal, or I guess counter magic. They don't really run removal, but they're planning on how are they going to interact with their opponents, and so I feel like that has a trickle down effect, where like people aren't running all of the same interaction, but they're going like, okay, well the best players are running interaction, the best players are running removal, the best players are running stacks or whatever. I need to put that in my deck. And now what I'm worried about is that you're just going to get a lot of people who just go, well, the best players just completely ignore the fact that their opponent's at the table. And that's what I don't like. I mean, the CEDH meta should be whatever it is. It just worries me that kind of, it's not selfish, but like that single player mind state is now being shown to potentially be the best mind state to be in to play the game. That worries me.
I think it's quite the opposite for CEH, because for so long it was just combos and protecting your own combos, and then Flubs was a very tenacious deck, and that's kind of how it works, where you can counter it, but it'll keep going, where it's just kind of building a storm counter by itself. So I was actually really pleased that it got as good as it did, because instead of every other deck being like, you want to run blue, you want to run red for Underworld Breach, you want to run black for Dark Ritual and the Tutors, like it's...
And what's the... Demonic Consultation,
Yeah,
right?
Demonic Consultation.
I know my CEDH.
Dimir is just like the best color combination. If you can get into Grixis, even better, because then you got Underworld Breach combos. And Temur is... It's got green, and it's got blue, and it's got red. And so you're not running all the tutors. You're just seeing how deep can I get into my deck, and how many times can somebody stop me before I win. And I think that was just a very fun play pattern to see emerge when otherwise it could have just been another 2-card combo deck. It could have been another Eye of Infinite Mana deck. So now I'm going to do whatever weird gimmick. Flubs becomes the engine. Your commander is actually doing something. He's not just there for the colors. For a while, Silas Ren and Rogrek were the fastest deck in the game. They could win turn 1. So if you were going first and you have the right hand with Silas Ren, you just win the game. Nobody can stop you because nobody's played a land. You can just be done. And I thought that was kind of boring, because that didn't seem like Magic. That seemed like, ooh, look at me. I found the, have you ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
There's like is it Quidditch, the game that they play?
Yeah,
you found the golden
snitch.
Yeah, you found the gold snitch in the parking lot out back, and then then the game's just over. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed
parking lot out back. Wow.
I don't know. I never watched the movies. I never read the books. I'm not into wizardry.
Is this your official joining us, Bear?
Oh yeah, I'm in. I've been recording for a while. I've been silently listening in the background.
Great to have you back. You have been so missed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like to
I
tell
feel
the folks
missed.
at home what you've been up to lately?
Oh yes. Yeah. I think I'm trying to think if I'm allowed to say any of this stuff or not. I'm trying to think of what the the level of discretion I need to speak with. I was on a mission trip to a country I will not disclose the name of, and it was wonderful. I was filming videos and shooting photos all week long. So I'm finally back. Apologies for being gone and delaying some of our editing and uploading times, but I'm happy to be here. Excited to hear what you guys are talking about. Yeah, so we're not talking about decks then, is what I've heard. What are we doing today?
So we're just kind of doing like a little Q&A and just kind of talking about, so we spent the first, half hour talking about what it is that we like about Magic as opposed to other games. So we're kind of talking about things we like about it, things we don't like about it, and then we went into a weird CEDH rabbit hole, which was kind of fun.
That is fun.
So do you want to talk on that, or do you want me to go on to our next question? Your choice.
Oh, I'm down for the next question. I don't need to draw it out longer. It sounds like you guys have covered it well.
All right. My next one is, what are your guilty pleasure cards or your pet cards? Or opposite, like what are the cards you just hate seeing on the other end of the table? I'm not supposed to say cards you hate, right? Trinket Mage is going to get me.
No, I do believe cards you hate, because I will be annoyed that you play them, and I will think less of you as a player if you play them.
I hate to give Trinket Mage the moral superiority, but I'm going to go for it. Cards you hate. So actually, cards you love, pet cards, or cards you hate.
Great. Can it be a type of card? Vehicles. I love them. And here's why. You guys probably already know why, but they're fun. It's harder for people to wipe your board, which makes I feel like the gameplay just a little bit more consistent for me. There's less setbacks. Obviously, that's dependent on what vehicles you get and how you build it out, but I think vehicles are a lot of fun, and I think they get around some of the. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cheating. It's like an exception to the simple rule of creatures and killing creatures and swinging creatures, but I just enjoy the kind of roundabout way of doing things and what it offers you. I don't know, Ren, what do you think about vehicles?
It depends on how good they are. Otherwise, I won't play them. If it's not good, I won't. I'm just not a vehicle lover. I like the Thunderhawk gunship from the 40K. I like the Necron monolith. There's a couple goofy vehicles that I'll just toss in because I think they're funny. But for the most part, I don't really think of them.
I think it'll be fun to kind of see. I think that vehicles will get more fun the more they print. It still seems like there's not a ton. There are some cool ones. Trying to think. Well, you run your Shurikai deck, right, Bear? And then
Yes.
Ren, your brother
yes,
runs. He runs a Shurikai deck as well, but he also runs another one, doesn't he? Doesn't he have a second?
He plays Greasefang, Okiba Boss, something like that. And he will he's got all the tutors in it. I think he's planning on taking it apart and selling a lot of the better cards in it, just because it's a bully deck if you build it right, and it's just so fast. It just kind of hits people for 20 pretty normally.
Do any of you? We have to talk about the Shurikai Genesis Engine Hellscape that your brother and Bear put. I think it was you and me in. Do you remember this? You were in that game.
I was a willing helper.
It was incredible.
Of that. So I used to play a Grixis Kest group hug deck, and there's a card called Forced Fruition, which is one of my pet cards, where whenever an opponent casts or plays a spell, they draw 7 cards. So basically, everybody is drawing like a fifth of their deck at least whenever they're playing their turn. That means Soul Ring is 1 mana, draw 7 cards. And it just kind of compounds a problem. And my younger brother was playing Shurikai.
And Bear was playing Shurikai at the same table.
Bear was playing Shurikai. Bear came to that table thinking, oh, I'm pretty proud of my Shurikai deck. And then my brother dropped down like 4 1-drops. And then I think he
played something that made us mill.
Yeah,
it was like whenever he
drew a card, we milled 2.
Yeah.
And whenever he was supposed to draw a card other than the first one, he would draw 2 instead. So he
milled us out so fast.
He'd cast 1 spell, everybody would mill 28, and so we died after him casting like 4 spells, and I think it was like 6 mana total.
But I think you were contributing. I'm trying to remember.
Terrible day.
I remember Bear I remember Bear contributing to it somehow with his Shurikai deck. It was just like sitting across the table and being like, "There's 2 of them."
I remember what it was. Yeah, I made a Mech Titan. I had a Mech Titan core and I transformed it, and I was just dinking people for 10 life with a flying vigilance trample Mech Titan. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
I think one of my favorite cards is Havoc Festival. It's a Rakdos card, so it's like 5 black red, and it's just players can't gain life. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half their life rounded. I think it's rounded up. And I love that card so much. And it makes me so sad. Every time I play it, the whole table is just like, oh no, what are we, like everyone just goes into panic mode. And I'm just like, guys, relax. It's universal. Everyone's going to get hit by it. Like, it's not like it's hurting you more than it's hurting anyone else. Within 2 turns, we'll all be at the same life. And, I built a whole deck for it. It was actually one of my first decks, and I recently updated it, and it's still in there. But, like, the whole deck is just about cycling through as fast as possible to find Havoc Festival. And the reason that I needed to build it was because I was teaching a whole bunch of people to play all at once. And so I was having these guys over, like, maybe once a week or so to play. And all of them were just doing that, like, build up your fortifications and nobody will swing. Nobody wants to lose their stuff. Hide behind your wall. And they were all doing that, and games were taking so long. And so I was like, I have to figure out how to make these games go faster. And so the deck was essentially just Havoc Festival and Goad. And oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I love how the just whole attitude of the game changes, especially if you get it out early. Like, I've gotten it out, I think, as early as turn 4. When all of a sudden it's like, oh, nobody has 40 life. And like, because early in the game it's like, yeah, I'll let that guy hit me for 2, you know. Yeah, I'll pay the 3 life to do whatever. And then like everyone gets dropped to 20 and then 10, and it's like turn 6, and just seeing everyone just get so much more intense, and all of a sudden like blocking really matters and paying life for stuff really matters. Oh, I love it so much. I love Havoc Festival.
My favorite card of all time, which I'm gonna say, and then you'll both be like, is Massacre Girl.
I knew it.
So
Shaking my head.
Massacre
I
Girl
was
is a
waiting
3
for you to say
black creature. She is a legendary creature. I've never built a deck just around her because she's just a board wipe. She comes in, every creature gets -1/-1 other than her. And then if anything dies, they'll get an additional -1/-1. So it'll just kind of ramp up. And so it'll effectively give the board -X/-X, where X is the amount of weak creatures there was, and then everything will die. And so often people will build, like even when they're more aggressively trying to like build decks where it's like, I'll protect myself, I'm gonna get my like 5 pretty good creatures out. They're gonna be like 7/7s with lifelink and indestructible. Like you run that white deck all about keywords, it doesn't save you, does it?
No?
I can go to combat, I can wait for combat to be done, and then I can just nuke the world anyway. She was in the first set I ever got, so I started prior to call time, and I got like a Vraska Planeswalker, kind of, I think it was like a dual deck or something like that, and there was 2 copies of her in there, which was crazy. And then I started playing Magic, and I had a Lathril deck and an Edgar Markov deck as my first 2. Now, those 1/1s that either Lathril makes or Edgar Markov makes are so good for feeding Massacre Girl, because they will chunk through any Simic giant monster there is.
I'm kind of curious, just hearing you say like those, I didn't know those were your first decks. And then, Bear, your first deck was the your first deck was the Necrons Precon, right?
It was actually the Tyranids Precon, and that was thanks to Ren. Ren gifted that one to me. That was very fun.
Right before he left me forever.
Yeah.
He never visits.
But I'm kind of curious, do you guys feel like the first deck you ever got has continued to shape your gameplay? Because like, for me, the first deck I ever got was the Ruthless Regiments Precon. I think it was for my Ikoria. Human Tribal and Mardu. And to this day, Mardu is still my favorite color scheme. I still have that deck. I've side graded it a ton. It doesn't look much like the original one, but it's still one of my favorite decks to play. And I have built and torn apart so many, and that one's just still so much fun. And like, it's essentially just, it's human tribal, so it's creature mid-range. You're gonna buff up your little dudes. There's some aristocrats in there, like just some sacrifice stuff. And like, that's still my favorite style of play, is just like build up a wide board, be able to sacrifice your guys for value. Like, don't slam one big creature, slam a bunch of little ones. Like, I love it when my board state, I love it when people don't know what to remove on my board state. Like when they're like, oh, I have this targeted removal, but I don't know what to do because none of your cards are inherently strong on their own, but together they're making this like mesh. And so, like, I feel like, it is literally, I asked the guy at the game store, like, hey, my friends are playing Magic the Gathering. What, do I need a deck? And he was like, oh, this one's pretty good, and just handed it to me, you know? Like, did that dude picking that deck off the shelf as opposed to any other one? I'm so curious as to how much you guys think that affects how it is you like to play now. So have you guys had similar experiences? Because for me, I feel like it's like very clearly yes.
I would say no personally, but that's just because I think my Tyranids deck, well, Ren's Tyranids deck that he gave me, I like to give him credit. I think that really just...
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was fun. But you giving that to me, I think, just opened my eyes to the world of the game and how the game worked and the different mechanics and all that stuff. And I just remember playing it night after night, and I did enjoy it a ton. It was a lot of fun. I just kept getting smoked when I played you guys. And so I pretty quickly moved into just like, okay, let's learn new techniques and new play styles. And I saw new things that I thought were cool. So now some of my favorite decks really don't have anything to do with big green creatures anymore. I guess that deck was more than just big green creatures, but you get what I'm saying. Green, red, blue, there was a lot of variety in that deck, and it's still very fun to go back to and play, but I think pretty quickly I picked up a 4-color Aragorn the Uniter deck. I'm trying to remember what else. Ren, do you remember what else I was playing at that time?
You have the Necrons Precon, don't you?
Yeah, I gave him that one as well.
Yeah, I may have sold that one.
Yeah, the Aragorn deck, and then you have one more that you got from the same guy, right?
Yeah, but I gave
Uh,
that to our other friend. Remember?
oh, it was the
It was
ninja one, yeah.
ninjas. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the next thing I did was I think I had an Angels precon as well, a red white. I think it was a red white blue Angels precon. That was kind of interesting
Oh,
as
yeah,
well. But
the
yeah,
Convoke one.
yes, Convoke. That was fun. I think, but
Yeah.
honestly, my favorite deck really ended up being Shorikai. I don't remember if I saw it coming out of a video or something, but I looked everywhere for the precon, found it on Black Friday, purchased it, and then, yeah, built it out to make it really sweet. And that's kind of my favorite deck right now. But as I'm experimenting, I'm having more and more fun experiences playing these different decks. Runo, obviously, but those are, now we're into Demir and we're into completely different color combinations that, and different play styles even. So I don't know if I would say I'm probably a little different than you, Bjorn, in that way, but I don't know. I do still enjoy going back and playing that deck once in a while for fun. It's pretty good. Honestly, though, it's much better with the other commander, Magus Lucia Kane. Ren, you know what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I've played it. I've played her the last 3 times, and each time I've gotten duplicated X spells and X creatures out, and it's just ridiculous. It's such a fun time. So, yeah.
Hmm. I would say I got transformed more by the deck I learned playing against rather than the ones I learned how to play. So with Edgar Markov and Lathril, they were both decks that made tokens. You kind of swing wide. And the guy I played against played a very tuned Simic Landfall with AC Tyrant of Gyre straight. He had
So he's a
enough,
bad person.
he had enough board wipes. He had all of the landfall drops back in 2020, and he would just kind of brutally kill me every game. Where I'd be like, I have 10/1/1 vampires, and they're about to swing in with Edgar Markov, so they're all 2/2s, and then he'd be like, here's an instant speed board wipe that will bounce everything except for my 20/20 creatures, and then I would just die. So I learned that if I'm going to build a deck, I do like playing aggressively, which is something both of those decks emphasize, but that's just how I play most games. But they were just decks that kind of did more than one thing kind of poorly. So a lot of my earlier deck builds ended up being like very, very precise in one way of playing. So I found a lot of love in Corvold, where it's just I would sacrifice everything if I had to in order to win. I played Vorinclex Monstrous Raider with Planeswalkers and Infect, and I would just burst out as many emblems as possible. And I played Kalia of the Vast, and I would just kind of kill somebody fast enough to where they couldn't hurt me, and then I would just get to work on the next player.
I do feel like since I've started playing with you, like when I started playing with you, you were definitely playing. You played a lot of Silvala, you played a lot of Slivers.
Mm-hmm. I still love my Slivers deck, but I don't take it out much.
I was gonna say, I feel like you've definitely toned down the power level of your deck since I started
Yes.
playing with you, and I'm curious, is that just because I know our current friend group is not nearly as competitive
Yeah.
as what you're playing? Is that why?
I don't like stomping.
Yeah.
I don't like stomping people.
You
I like
used to
playing
like
games.
stomping, my friend. Oh, I
I'll
remember
still
the
stomp
days.
you. I can put
That was-
Yuriko back together.
Oh,
I think that
please
was a
no.
hurt people type situation.
No,
Yes.
it was just I built decks with the point of winning instead of the point of having fun. So I would spend my time looking into cards that would just give me a slight edge over any other card. So every deck, like every single part of the 99 was like specifically chosen for the exact situation that I thought I would play it in, and that gave me a lot of success. But it would also make the decks incredibly repetitive. So they were like not mechanically perfect, but as close to it as I could build. And if you're playing Magic like that, you'll have like 1 or 2 decks that you want to go back to, and then the rest are like, I don't ever want to play this game again. Like, it's great having like 30/1/1 vampires with Edgar Markov at turn 5, but if you're just going to sack them all to Razaketh to make more vampires, like, it doesn't feel great.
Actually, this is actually one of the other questions I had, so I'm curious what your thoughts are. I feel like I maybe know where Bear stands on this. What are your thoughts on playing precons?
It depends. Like, are you having fun with the precon? Are you going to complain that it's just
No,
a
I
precon?
mean you playing precons.
Yeah, if it's a precon that seems interesting to me, yeah, I'll play it. I think they're fun. I think it's a fun look at how other people think. I don't think I could ever build a deck with the power level of a precon.
I don't know. Some of them are pretty good. The jump scare Simic one recently from Duskborn is like disgustingly good.
Yeah, but I think that most of the disgustingly good precons are there because of like an error or an oversight. I think most of them like have some general game idea that are pretty fun. Like talking about Duskborn, there's the Valkavoth one, and then there's the Winter one as well.
The Knights one recently.
Sidar Jabari with
Yeah.
Eminence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that sounds like a Key and Peele skit. Yeah, that one is so good.
That's once you tune it up, yeah, it gets really good. I think it's got an easier way to tune up, but I think most of them are on a relatively like safe playing field. So I think most of them are just pretty fun.
Bear, I'm assuming you like playing precons.
Sometimes. I used to a lot more. I think I'm starting to really enjoy tuning and building. I really hadn't built any decks until about a week or two before we started recording together. I think the first deck I built, not even fully on my own, but with some help from Ren and one of our other friends, was a partner commander deck. I think it was like Teveshsat, and I don't even remember. I think Sidar something or other.
That was the deck that. Well, yeah, that was the deck that kind of got us thinking we should do the podcast because you called me to talk to me about that too.
Yeah.
And that was when we were like, this is fun to just sit in theory, craft a deck.
Yeah, so I was really excited to build something, and I've played it a little. It's really fun. I think I'd like to play it on this channel as like my first actual deck I've built, because really all I'd done is just tuned up some precons before. But yeah, I enjoy playing a good precon. I think lately the precon power level has gotten kind of ridiculous. The newest ones from Edge of Eternities are stupid. They're so overpowered that I don't really play them in my friend groups here anymore. Just because they outclass every other precon that my friends have, and I don't know if you've played the counters one, the charge counters one yet, but it's pretty ridiculous. So I don't know. I think when you have something that makes everything indestructible and that's your commander, that's just kind of ridiculous. And then the one where you sack all your lands is also just silly. But their power level's really scaled over the last few years, I feel like. So I'm fine playing them. I just think you really need the right pod to make it work. I guess I'd say that. I think they used to be really effective and pretty balanced to play, but lately they've been overpowered.
See, to me, I don't really like it's not the power level of precons. I don't like playing them. I know I said that I still have that very first one I bought, but I really, it's like, aside from the land based, it's not the same deck, and the commander. But like, to me, I don't like playing a deck that I didn't build. And I've really been trying to figure that out, and I think it's been kind of funny. I didn't ever expect for myself like to get so introspective about Magic the Gathering when I started playing it. But I've been really trying to figure out why that is, and I don't know yet. There's just some part of me that is like, if I didn't make this deck, I don't want to play it. Like I don't like playing precons. I don't like playing other people's decks. I've had it where I built a deck. I was super excited about this deck. It was Captain and Grothod from... Was he Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, he's D&D.
Yeah, I remember building. I found him online. Like I was just looking through commanders. I was like saw him on EDH Rec, and this is when I was fairly new. It's like, oh, this card's cool, and I like spent a lot of time scrolling EDH Rec, and I put together this whole deck list, and I bought it, and I took it to play with some friends, and one of them goes, "Oh, that's cool. You bought that precon? I was thinking about buying that too," and I was like devastated to find out that it was a precon. And then I compared the deck lists, and it was like 70% the same. And like, from that point on, I just did not like playing that deck nearly as much. There was just something about finding out like...
Your creativity was kind of stifled.
Yeah.
Like I cheated.
Well, and also like just going like, oh, well, no wonder all these cards were showing up on EDH Rec because...
They're all new and they're all like the deck.
Which in some ways that was good because now I don't... The only time I use EDH Rec is when like I'll spend a ton of time looking through Scryfall for decks, and then I'll go to EDH Rec like when I'm close to finishing the deck and just be like, is there any softball cards that I missed? Like, is there any cards that have ridiculous synergy or are really funny that I just didn't find?
So you actually use those websites when you're building decks?
Oh, I spend so much time on Scryfall when I build a deck.
Bear, where do you go when you're building decks?
At this point, it's a little bit of a combo. I start on EDH Rec for maybe like 10 minutes just to get an idea. And then I do spend most of my time on Scryfall, and I do some ChatGPT. It's pretty good. I'm not 100%. Sometimes it gives recommendations that are illegal, so you have to just pay attention. But Yeah, I kind of mix it up. I do spend a little time on Scryfall though. It's just kind
Does
of
it
hard
just
to
suggest
navigate.
you should put a gun in your deck?
Yeah,
That kind of
essentially.
illegal. If you shoot
Yeah.
your opponents,
Here's this
you'll
silver
win.
bordered card.
No, it will like I'll ask it for
Rules
specific
here.
cards. Like I'm one of the decks I'll hint at it for one of our next videos. It's going to be a Cerdin the Shipwright deck, and it's kind of a unique play style with flicker and some effects that I don't want to do a lot. But in asking ChatGPT to give me recommendations, it's like here's some recommendations, but then it will also put a little subscript and say, but this isn't legal because it's the wrong color. I'm like, so why are you telling me? But yeah, that's where I go some of the time. It's pretty helpful just for getting ideas. It's great for deck names.
What do you do if you don't use websites?
So you may not like this, but I just go to the Microsoft Edge or the Google or the search bar, and I just look up like abilities that I want to happen in the deck.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I never look in like hey, how good is this card? I look for a card that's like, go find 3 forests.
Okay, but that's what Scryfall is.
Yeah.
I just look at all of the cards in images, and then I just kind of scroll
Oh my
through them.
gosh.
So there's like no like.
You're just hoping that somebody has posted something on Google Images.
There's always somebody who posted something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And I kind of go through this kind of like a barbarian. I understand that I brute force my way through it, but I find a lot of like.
This is your version of my computer mouse.
Yes, like I'm a heavy utilitarian when it comes to searching for cards, and I found that EDH Rec offers me a lot of good cards, but I don't want to play good cards. I want to play my cards.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking through like images, you can kind of see like which cards are older and therefore cheaper. And when you see that, you're like, oh, how can I make this deck as cheap as possible while making it as strong as possible, or at least getting the effects that I want? Because of that, I found a lot of cards that have just become mainstays. Like Sky Shred Claim is a mainstay in most of my green decks. It's just like a 4-mana, go find 2 forests. Not basic forests, forests. You can go find 2 dual lands. And I never would have found that unless I was looking through images, because EDH Rec probably wouldn't have said that.
Yeah. One thing actually that I do really like EDH Rec for, and this is probably where I use it the most, is the similar cards feature. Like, because I'll be looking through Scryfall and I'll find a card, and it's like, oh, this card's good. I need more of this card, but like I've looked through 150 cards with this syntax, and there's nothing else like this. Because then you can just go to EDH Rec, you look up the card, and then there's just a button that says similar cards, and it'll pull up, I think, either 6 or 8 cards that have similar effects. And sometimes it's like, this is not at all what I want, but sometimes it's like, this is exactly what I was looking for. And like, this is like, for example, I'm building a life gain deck right now for one of our other episodes. Our recording schedule is a little weird right now, so I don't know. You guys will find out about that eventually.
No, you guys won't see a problem
But like,
at all.
I
This
knew
is
I wanted
normal.
life gain, and I was like, okay, I just need simple life gain. So I was like, I know Soul Warden. Like, I know Soul Warden gives you just a ton of life, and I specifically wanted cards that gain you life. So I was like, I could search for things on Scryfall, or I could go to EDH Rec. I could look up Soul Warden and click similar cards, and then it just pulls up 6 cards that are the exact same thing as Soul Warden. And that's just, to me, I like that efficiency.
I find that so incredibly boring, because then I get repeat effects, and I don't want repeat effects.
Well, that's the thing, is that I do that when I want a repeat effect. Like when I'm like, I just want, like, because in this one it's like, I just need to make sure I have life. Like, I just need to make sure I gain life. The easiest, simplest way to gain life is just throw out a Soul Warden. And if there's 5 other cards that do the exact same thing, I'm going to play them all.
Warden.
Exactly.
Every single warden.
Yeah, and that's and then I didn't have to spend time looking through 300 cards that say gain 1 life on Scryfall.
I think it's really funny to have all of those like 1-drop white cards, or 1 and 1, because it can't just be 1-drop, where it's like gain 4 life, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of those, and I think that would be the funniest deck in the world to play, where it's just like, I'm playing white Storm. There's no Storm cards.
Yeah, you just play everything in order. Who was it? Someone was just. Oh, it was. I don't know if you guys watch Commander Bombing or not. He had Chips and Guac on, or Quips and Guac.
Oh,
I don't know if you watch it.
Quips and
He was saying that one of his first decks was like making everything with like a mana cost of 1 or less. And then our friend is also trying to do that actually right now.
I've done that with Yuriko the Tiger Shadow for CEDH.
I hate Yuriko.
That was a fun deck, because everything was like 1 mana drop. Oh yeah, Fiddlefip.
See, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever tried to build one with that low of a mana curve.
That's so easy. You play Shizuo the Caretaker in Mono Black, and it just gets better every single time something releases because there's always better cards being made.
My current favorite mana curve that I've built is I just call it my inverted bell curve. Essentially, and I'm gonna play this deck tonight. Ren and I are playing after this. Sorry, there.
Yeah, sorry there.
But move back to us.
I live next to your father. Come visit. I'm so close. I'll pick you up from the airport.
I'm
But
working
it's,
on it. I'm
basically-
working on it.
I have close to 20 mana sources, like mana rocks, and they all have to be 2 mana or less. My commander costs 3, and then I think I have 3 spells that are mana cost 4 or 5, and then another like 20 to 25 that are 6 or higher. And basically, a lot of the higher cost ones have Cascade. So the goal is like opening hand, like you're playing 1 to 2 mana rocks as well as your commander by turn 3. Maybe you play 2 mana rocks on turn 4, and then you have 8 mana or 9 mana, and then you can play a card with like Cascade or Discover or Explorer or whatever it is, and it just gets you into even more mana, and it's just so much fun. Like you just completely cut out the middle section, like the 3, 4, 5 section of the deck, and I have such a blast with it because you just get to play a bunch of big creatures. You just get so much mana. You can always cast your mana rocks. And then you can just afford to cast tons of big creatures later on. And I've been having a ton of fun with that inverted bell curve mana curve. Oh.
We have like a minute left. Bear, what's your least favorite card in the game?
Oh, what's
what
the
card
one
do
that
you see hit the table and just rage?
probably Soul Ring? You know, I just hate mana rocks.
Wow, what a Chad. I was also going to say Soul Ring.
I'm kidding, you loser. I know you hate it. I love that card.
I don't hate it. I like taking the moral high ground over
Soul
not having
makes
it.
me greedy.
I think I'll kind of, I don't know one specific. I'll just give you a quick blanket though. Is anything like a Ristic Study or Esper Sentinel, anything like that just sees play in every deck
Just
because it's just
boring.
that good. It's boring to me.
Yeah.
I think, you know,
The One Ring.
the One Ring, whatever. Those are cool.
The
whatever.
Soul Rings, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Soul
fair.
Ring,
Yeah,
Soul Ring is less like, to me it's less of a deal just because it gives you a resource that allows you to play. It doesn't inherently just set everyone back so far. It's a good card, but it's also colorless mana, and I think it's more balanced. But something like Ristic Study or Esper Sentinel, I'm like, when I see it, I just think it's unoriginal. So I guess I kind of resonate with Bjorn a little bit on the desire to build a deck and not just play a precon, because I think that same desire to be seen for your creativity and what you do is there deep down, and that goes against it in my mind. So, yeah.
What about you? Least favorite card?
My least favorite card in the entire game is Hullbreaker Horror. Anybody that plays Hullbreaker Horror should be on a watch list. The fact that it just changes a game in its entirety immediately. There's no stacks. It's just how generous is the blue player feeling? Are they going to start taking away my lands when they counter my spells?
Is it
How
counted
are
as a
we gonna
game
play
changer
this?
now?
It should be. It's probably the best card in the game.
I think it's banned. I think it's just banned.
No, it's legal.
Hullbreaker Horror?
Is it not?
Hull Breacher is banned.
Hull Breacher.
Hull Breacher steals other people's draws and makes treasures instead. Hullbreaker Horror just makes people feel bad about themselves. And even worse, it makes you feel dirty to play because it's that good.
I don't feel
I've
dirty
never
when I
seen-
play it.
I've seen very few times that a single Hullbreaker Horror hits the battlefield. It's usually 2, because any player that's playing blue that has 8 mana will usually be like, I've got 10 mana, I might as well make a Splinter Twin or just a copy of this, so that every time I cast a spell, 2 of somebody else's non-land permanents or permanents just go away. So I despise that card.
I'm really excited to use it with Runo. It's pretty cool. I feel like casting one spell and getting 3 triggers is just so good.
When we revisit decks that we've already played and you play Runo, I'm going to play probably something scary.
That's fine with me. Runo's turned into a really good commander. I wasn't expecting that. Fun fact with Hullbreaker Horror, though, I own that card. I didn't mean to own that card, but my wife and I were playing Standard. We bought a little starter kit for like 15 or 20 bucks, and there was a blue deck. Had nothing to do with Krakens or any sea creatures, and there was a red deck and whatever. I was playing red, and just kind of taking it easy. And she puts down a Hull Breaker Horror in her first ever game against me and just starts bouncing my stuff back to my hand. And I just lost. Right up. It was the worst.
Knowing your wife, I bet she was just so excited to do that too.
I think she was cautiously optimistic that she was going to win with it. And at the end, she just kind of gave me a little grin and nodded and was like, that was okay. I'll play that again. I'm like, I'm sure you would play that again. That card's crazy. And I've since taken it and put it in my Runa deck. So there you go.
Gosh, you're so basic. Ugh, why don't you play something original?
I didn't know it existed. I found it in a standard basic kit. I'm happy about it. Also, it's not standard legal, so kind of funny.
Huh.
That makes sense.
I don't know what my least favorite card would be. I could definitely, like, the two cards that I can think of having a really bad experience with are Turgid, the one where whenever you discard.
Or sack.
Yeah, or sack. Because that one's just, I mean, it's just annoying. The player who plays it can't keep track of stuff. It's super easy to do.
That's user error. Turgid goes quick if you know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't know. I don't like that one. It's not fun. I was glad to see that it's a game changer. And then these actually go together, but Possibility Storm also I really don't like. And my first exposure to both of them was I had one friend, and we were all pretty new to Magic, but one friend built a Turgid deck, and one friend built a Chaos deck. And friend one casts Turgid, and then friend two follows it up with Possibility Storm on the very next turn. And it was just like the biggest hands in my face moment of going like, I will never be able to get anything off the board. The Turgid player's just going to keep sacking everything and keep discarding, or making us discard. Like, it was so miserable. And then I believe that eventually the Chaos player played Thieves Auction, which now that I think about it might be my least favorite card. It's the one where like you just put everybody's stuff in a pile and then one at a time pick permanents until everyone has random mush.
I like
It's
that.
not fun.
Well, that looks
No.
fun.
It's terrible. Don't do it.
You know
We'll
the
kick you
card
off
that
the
really is
podcast.
terrible? It's Forced Fruition. It's Ren's favorite card.
No, my favorite card is Massacre Girl. Force Fruition might be my second favorite blue card. My favorite blue card is Mental Misstep. Countering Soul Rings is the greatest hit of dopamine you can get in Magic the Gathering. It might be better than crack.
I've dash hoped somebody's Soul Ring just because it was so funny to make them pay 5 on like turn 2.
Oh, it's so
They were
good.
so mad.
Oh,
All right, I think we should end it there because Ren and I are supposed to be playing Magic with people in 8 minutes.
yes,
so.
in 8 minutes, and we're not at the same place, so we've got to drive at least 25 minutes because we live in America and there's nothing close by.
All right,
Incredible.
well, that was fun. I enjoyed that, guys. Maybe we'll have to do something like this again because we
Yeah.
only got through 3 questions.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out next time we can't get our guest on.
All righty.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
well, I'll see you all later.
See
Goodbye.
ya.